So today on eNCA, we've been exploring corruption. Lots of tenders, lots of kickbacks, lots of dodgy deals. But the cost actually goes way beyond the looting. The fact is, we've struggled to grow our economy for the past decade. And here's the thing. Economists are pointing to bad governance. Let's get the details. Reporter Michael Marillier joining me now in studio. So, Mike, we tend to focus on the actual money and how much money was stolen because that's important, because we need to get that money back. But you've got data that shows it goes so much deeper than that.
Yeah, absolutely, Sally. You know, lots of people talk about state capture, they talk about corruption, but at the end of the day, money is the thing that really talks. If money is leaving the country, then investors are saying, we don't trust the government. We have concerns about whether or not it is actually a safe bet. We're going to take a look at some research from the Bureau for Economic Research. And what it does, Sally, is it looks at how South Africa's economic growth tracked the global average for more than a decade. And then something started to change from about 2008, 2009. And that's really essentially the Jacob Zuma era. So let's take a look at those stats. First of all, that's the global average, that blue line over there, Sally. And as you can see, a big dip during the financial crisis of 2008, 2009. South Africa, that green line, essentially matches it step for step from about 1994 to 2007. Then the global average goes up, Sally. You can see it improving and progressing quite nicely right up to about 2017. But what's going on here? The green line no longer tracking that blue line. South Africa, of course, being the green line. And if you look at other classifications of economies, Sally, like the emerging markets, for instance, check how high that line is, that yellow line over there. The orange line, which you've just seen over there, that's advanced economies. Advanced economies tend to grow at marginal rates on a yearly basis, 1 to 2%, and yet advanced economies on average surpass South Africa around about 2015, 2016. So the experts saying, Sally, that clearly whatever was going on in South Africa hurt our economy, and those issues were unique to this country, especially when you compare some of the averages that we've seen on this particular graph. But just to bring it home, let's focus on the numbers itself. So between 2010 and 2017, South Africa averaging growth of around 2% per year in terms of its GDP. The rest of the world, Sally, almost double, 3.8%. Emerging markets, remember we're competing with emerging markets, 5.3%, and commodity exporters. So those are countries similar to ours which export gold, platinum, coal, and those sorts of minerals, 3.8% again. So when you look at those numbers, it becomes clear something was going on in South Africa, and the BER is pointing to policy uncertainty, allegations of corruption, state capture, and bad management, Sally.
Sure. I mean, it's a massive missed opportunity because when other economies were recovering quite well, we were just nowhere on that same level. And then, of course, COVID comes along and messes everything up for everybody. What does it really mean for South Africans?
So the researchers did some fascinating stats, Sally. We're going to whiz through them, so hold on to your hats, guys. Here we go. First of all, Sally, they calculated that if we had just followed the global trend, we would have had 481 billion rand extra of GDP. In other words, our economy would be almost R500 billion bigger by 2017. That would translate to about 8,500 rand per person. Every single South African would have that in their pocket, essentially. 500,000 more jobs, Sally, by 2017. That would have cut our unemployment rate by about 5 percentage points, taking us down to about 22%. And get this, 676 billion rand in extra tax revenue over the course of 8 years. There are a lot of zeros there, Sally, but one thing that it does mean, we could have bought a lot of vaccines and a lot of PPE with 676 billion rand.